No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Wrealm presents Break It Down with Bryan H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Break It Down with Bryan H. I'm your host, Bryan H. Waters. Now, first, before we get started, let me make sure you guys know what to do. Hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you are subscribed to the show. Subscribe to the Wrestling Wrealm on YouTube. And guess what? If you're listening, whether it's Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcoin, getting them points up, make sure you subscribe. Go ahead, rate the show. Let me know what you think. And of course, follow me at Bryan H. Waters, and follow the real Dwayne Allen at Dwayne Allen 24, and of course at Wrestling Wrealm. Folks, it is official. The war is on between the WWE brand and the All Elite Wrestling brand. You may say, well, it's not really a war because nothing has started, but guess what? USA Network has just made it official that NXT will be live on, joining the USA Network. Not sure if it's live, so I'm going to take that part back. But we're going to get the likes of the Velveteen Dream, the Panama Playboy, I guess they still call him, Adam Cole, Undisputed, Matt Riddle, Shayna Baszler. They're all going to be on USA Network representing NXT. So why is this a big deal? Well, NXT has been on the WWE Network for years. You know, at one point it was on Hulu before WWE Network. I will admit that is the reason why I'm still subscribed to Hulu today, because I remember the real Dwayne Allen said, "Look, man, you gotta check out this NXT brand. Like, I've been watching clips; it's really good." So I said, "You know what? Boom, let me hit subscribe. Pay my $8 a month. Subscribe to Hulu, and I was a faithful watcher." Then, I went to the WWE Network, and man, it's been incredible. It was always wondering when would NXT ever get to television? It was supposed to go to Fox Sports 1. Instead, USA came and said, "Look, we want it." And USA Network is in this many homes, Fox Sports 1, this many. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? You want as many eyeballs on your product. But we all know October 2nd is the day AEW will be live on TNT. And yes, folks, I have my ticket, so make sure if you're there, you holler at me at Bryan H. Waters. But I'm excited. But of course, when there's things that happen, there's a thing called social media. So we'll start with the positive first. We get a tweet earlier today, Tuesday, recording the show. The WWE tweeted, "Breaking September 18th, WWE NXT will air live as a 2-hour weekly show." So yes, it's going to air live weekly, 2 hours on Wednesday on the USA Network. Triple H says, "Can't describe this announcement in any other word than proud," in all capital letters. "Proud of everyone involved from day one. Proud you let your voice be heard and carry the banner of this brand. Proud you've loudly and clearly said, we are NXT." So Triple H is our proud papa, folks. I mean, this has been his baby from day one. Triple H brings that old school effect as well as the new school all mixed in together. This is going to be interesting because now we're looking at, is NXT still going to be the developmental brand, or will it officially be the third brand? I was talking to my good brother D. Damaris Dye. Shout out to D of the Dye Sporting Network, and his partner at work. Forgive me if I just forgot the gentleman's name. D will, of course, let me know when he listens. And one of the things, we was talking about the television championship. And his partner said, you bring back the TV title and you have it like what the women's tag title is supposed to be. It can be defended on any brand that's on television. Could you imagine bringing that belt back? Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. And I asked him this. When you think of the TV title, who's the first person that comes to mind? Now, if you're born in 1986 like myself, I said this guy's name, and you're probably writing it right now. Put it in the comments right now. I said this guy's name, and so did D's partner. He said this guy's name. We're going to call him the Lieutenant, because D introduced me as the Lieutenant. The Lieutenant and I both said Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson was television champion personified. Who could be that guy, folks? Let me know. Tweet me at Bryan H. Waters. Comment below. Who could be the guy who could be a television champion in this era, who could bounce between the USA Network to wrestle and defend his title on Raw and NXT, as well as on Smackdown Live coming to Fox in October? Chris Jericho, right? He, of course, you knew he was going to tweet. You just knew it was going to happen, right? He put, congratulations to NXT, and he tagged him. Congratulations to WWE NXT for making the big move to the USA Network. That sounds nice, right? But then he continued, runners always race faster when somebody is right behind them. Going to be fun to see which team the world decides to join. Hashtag choose Jericho at AEW or at AE Wrestling, at AEW on TNT. And then, of course, you knew the Young Bucks was going to say something. When the Wrestling Observer tweeted the news, they quote tweeted, and this was Nick Jackson, said, "We aren't scared." So what I have to say about that? This is why you're in the situation that you're in now. The reason why, I believe this. If they would have just did their thing and wouldn't have said, took shots at the WWE, if they wouldn't have made these sly comments, then NXT may have went to Fox Sports 1. Maybe they still be on the WWE Network. But I think because they kept running their mouth, because they would say we're not competing, but they are. You have Cody Rhodes taking a shot with the throne and then says it's not a shot. I think that's why we're going to see, WWE say, okay, we see what you did. Let's crank it up. Stone Cold Steve Austin had Tony Khan on the show, owner of AEW. All of a sudden, Stone Cold Steve Austin has a show on the USA Network right after Monday Night Raw where they're constantly plugging Steve Austin's show. Any coincidence? I know Bret the Hitman Hart declined to come to the Raw reunion, mainly saying that he felt that, word on the street said that he felt he wouldn't be used properly. But then, he was at SummerSlam. So, I don't know. There was this talk about Sasha Banks was going to leave. All of a sudden, she's back. The Revival was unhappy. Suddenly, they were Raw Tag Team Champions. So, I don't know. I just wish... I want to see good wrestling. And sure, the competition stuff would be fun. But let's have a show first. Let's get some ratings. Then we'll see. But I'm going to sit back and be a fan and enjoy the ride. So, moving on. Becky Lynch addressed Sasha Banks. And, this was very interesting on Monday Night Raw. She went on to say, Sasha left and then came back, and all of a sudden she's like the number one contender, top person. And, it's just interesting when you think about this, right? You have Sasha and Becky, two forces that haven't squared off. But we move on. Sasha would come on and explain herself, and she said absolutely nothing. They asked her, why did she do what she did? First she talked about being true blue, and that's who she is, talked about her hair, but then she just said, you're welcome. Very few little words, and this is going to be fun. Make sure you go to BryanHWaters.com. I wrote a little blog about this, about how I feel. This is the boss that I've been waiting for. I said that last week, and this is going to be fun. I love the fact there was a few words. We were supposed to get her in King's Court. More on that later. Unfortunately, Jerry Lawler was attacked, so it was just a sit-down interview. And I was just happy that we still got the interview with Sasha Banks. But then later on, Natalya talked about having friends and whatnot, and having somebody turn their back on her, and then all of a sudden, the boss, Sasha Banks, will beat her up again. Now, she blurred the lines. She may have went too far. She told her, Natty, go to hell and tell your dad I said hello. Wow. I'm not really sure how I feel about that one. But nonetheless, yeah, I don't know, but woo, that was a little crazy, So let's move on. Buddy Murphy, folks, did you see it? 2 weeks in a row, Buddy Murphy puts on a hell of a match, 5-star match last week with Roman Reigns. Roman just getting the win. This week, it wasn't a get by for Daniel Bryan. He took on the best wrestler in the world. Yes, I said it. And he beat him. He beat Daniel Bryan. And shout out to my brother Corey, who said in the text, Daniel Bryan is a wrestling saint, putting over anybody and everybody. Buddy Murphy is the future. This is what this is about, creating new stars. Right here, we saw a star being born. I was a fan of Buddy Murphy. You may remember, if you've been a long-time listener, I began the Super Showdown, the WWE Super Showdown post-show back when they were in Australia with his victory over Cedric Alexander when he became the Cruiserweight Champion. When you watched him join 205 Live, you saw a shift in his character. You saw him become something great. And that is why I'm excited to see what they do with him on SmackDown. We've been waiting for him to be on the show, and now he's there. Only time will tell. But the bigger story with Daniel Bryan this week, and the reason why we got to that match was because last week he made Buddy Murphy admit that it was not Rowan who attacked Roman Reigns. So we had this thing. We're going to find out. Only for it to be this guy. And look on your screens. The guy they had, I don't know who he is. We'll probably know by the time the show airs. There'll probably be some dirt sheet tweets and all that. But who is this guy? He has a similar beard. He's clearly heavier. He has a bigger head than Rowan. But it's easy where you can see the mistake. So that certainly is like, I don't know about that. But folks, I'm going to take my first break. I'll be back after a word from my boy D.
Hey, this is Demar's Dye from the Dye Sporting Network and D from the Flex Zone. Check out both the Dye Sporting Network and the Flex Zone on all the major social media platforms. And of course, check out my main man, breaking it down every week. Break it down with Brian H. Waters. Back to you, Brian.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So that was my boy D from the Flex Zone and the Dye Sporting Net. Make sure you check him out. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. If you're in the DMV area, or I should say the Baltimore, DC area, I'm not sure if he goes to Virginia, but if you're in this area, he is the man when it comes to high school sports. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to tap out a little bit.
Here's our tapped out segment of the week.
Folks, my tapped out this week, after I thought about it, is the King of the Ring tournament, with the way it's being held. And you may say, why, right? So I'm looking at this bracket, and this is the bracket that's updated after SmackDown, Raw, but not after SmackDown. But you look at this, and what I see is heavy hitters. So, why is it only tapped out? Go to BryanHWords.com to see more details. But the reason is because it's not a full pay-per-view. Now, granted, I don't expect them to do the whole bracket in one night. But what I would like to see, at least the final 2 rounds, the final 3 would be cool. If I could see, say, Cedric Alexander go wrestle in 3 matches. And I know I'm like, man, bring me back 1993. But come on. But even the final 2 rounds, make it King of the Ring. It's just so much better when it's a pay-per-view. It makes it a big deal because this year I'm actually taking the tournament seriously. Just like I said, heavy hitters. Drew McIntyre, world champion contender. Miz, former world champion. Baron Corbin, fresh out of the world title picture. Kevin Owens, former world champion. Shelton Benjamin, true vet. Ali, the future. Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, the future. Samoa Joe, could be champion at any time. So I'm looking at him like, come on, man. But let's move on. We had this week, we saw Samoa Joe victorious over Cesaro, and these guys just beat the heck out of each other. This is a true big man, or I should say, strong, maybe strong style, true brawl. And they just beat the heck out of each other. Then we had Cedric Alexander and Sami Zayn. They went at it, and Cedric pulled off the win. He's some people's favorite to go ahead and win this thing. I personally think it's going to be a heel. That's just what you do. But then we move on over to Raw. This is a guy who could be the champion. The king of the ring, and that's Andrade. Andrade is a star. Just look at the way his presence. And then, of course, there was a screwy finish where Kevin Owens fell to Elias after Shane McMahon revealed that he was wearing a referee shirt, even though Kevin Owens tried to come to him man to man and say, look, can you reduce that fine? And he said, no, I'll think about it. But it was a fast count, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And Elias is now moving on in the tournament. So, we look at this. Now, next week we'll have Ricochet and Drew McIntyre. With Samoa Joe wins, that makes you believe Ricochet is going to win. And just because you just don't think they're going to be heels and heels. Maybe so. I would love to see Drew McIntyre and Samoa Joe, though. You got Miz and Baron Corbin, because Cedric won. You're thinking, okay, Baron Corbin is going to win. Especially with the new news with Sami Zayn and Shinsuke being partners. But then you got Ali and Buddy Murphy, right? So Buddy's been like the face tweener, kind of going face now, so that could go either way. But I think Murphy probably will win. But then again, you think Ali, after the situation happened at the beginning of the year, perhaps it's his time. So that winner faces Elias. Then you got Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, with the winner facing Andrade. You're almost certain that it's going to be Gable, especially considering Shelton Benjamin leaving notes saying you can't compete unless you're over a certain height. So, only time will tell. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we got new Raw Tag Team Champions. Yes, Braun Strowman and Seth freaking Rollins are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. This is multiple-time tag championship for Rollins. But Braun Strowman, he might have won the title after his match was thrown out due to disqualification when his United States Championship. So he didn't leave Raw as the U.S. champion, but he left Raw as the tag team champion. But you know one thing, he kept his eyes on the Universal Championship. And that's almost make you certain that we are going to have to see the showdown. Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman coming up at Night of Champions. And guess what? I'm here for it. Put the title on Braun Strowman. I'm serious. Just put the title on him. But we'll find out. But moving on. Speaking of champions, the SmackDown's leader, the SmackDown, the face of the brand, Kofi Kingston, your WWE champion. He was attacked on Monday Night Raw after Randy Orton and after the Revival, attacked New Day and Randy Orton helped. Kofi Kingston would come out there, but nope. Randy Orton RKO's out of nowhere, and then made Randy Orton made Kofi Kingston watch the Revival rip and tear into the knees of Xavier Woods. But Kofi would respond coming up on SmackDown when he would beat up Randy Orton, and as he was about to take his ankles out, the Revival was there saving. Kofi wore them out. The showdown is coming. Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, Night of Champions. I really hope Randy puts him over. I know we have I guess I'm just looking at it the advertisement right now for the first live SmackDown on Fox is Randy Orton versus Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. And then you can still have Randy win and that still be the match, but I don't know, man. I don't even know. So, but I'm going to go ahead and take my last break. I got a word coming up from the Shark.
What is up, people? This is Sean Williams, host of Variety Bites, and of course, one half of the Shark Attack with Sean Williams and JP Mayer as part of the Sean Williams Podcast Network right here on Anchor, as well as on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. And you are listening to Break It Down with my good friend, Mr. Main Event himself, Bryan H. Waters. Bryan, do your thing, my friend.
Video. And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. That, of course, is my boy, the Shark himself, Sean Williams. Make sure you check out the Sean Williams Podcast Network. Folks, the Women's Tag Team Champions are doing their thing. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, this past Monday, victorious over Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. This is what the Tag Team Championship is all about. Now, I'm not going to criticize the Iconics. I think they were victims of bad writing, and I hate to be that guy, but I do. I think they were victims of bad writing. I think at the time they were tag champions, you had people behind the scenes just uninterested in the titles. It's not that I don't think they were marketable, because I do think they are, and I hope to see them get the titles back soon, just because it would be good to see them defending the titles the way that was intended. Let's move on. We have an opponent for Bayley coming up at Night of Champions. It is official. We will get, once again, Bayley versus Charlotte. Now, excuse me, I know a lot of people aren't necessarily happy with this one, because it's like, here we go, Charlotte Flair all over again. But boy, oh boy, I think this rivalry is going to go to a new level. When these two get in the ring, it's magic. This is one of those, we always hear about Charlotte and Asuka. We always hear about Charlotte and Sasha. Heck, we've even heard about Charlotte and Becky. But Charlotte and Bayley have been putting on incredible matches. You know, you look at her dad, right? And it's hard not to compare. But you look at her dad, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. The first thing you think about is Ric Flair and Steamboat. Me, I think about, of course I think about that, but I also think about Ric Flair and Sting. But then you also have Ric Flair and Ronnie Garvin, Ric Flair and Magnum TA back in the day, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair and Harley Race. You know, Flair would go out there and put on great matches with everybody. So this is, you know, I said it time and time again. People don't like it. So what? Rick and Charlotte, best parent-child duo. But you know, and people might not like this one, but yes, over Muhammad and Layla Ali, slightly. But yes, I put them up there. You know, it's not about the amount of title reigns, but it's just like the level of dominance, you know, the level of the superstardom in their sports. But, you know, then you can also make this sense that's equal. But nonetheless, you know, Charlotte Flair is great. And I love that she had to go through Trish Stratus and, you know, then she would come on back to Bayley. It makes sense, you know. Let's move on. We got a new pairing. We talked about this. Sami Zayn and Shinsuke, now official. Sami Zayn came out there and, you know, he came on the Miz TV and said, look, I got somebody who I'm going to be, you know, I'm here for, to help. And it's like, who? All of a sudden, Shinsuke's music hit. I forgot he was the Intercontinental Champion. I forgot. But nonetheless, he's out there. And Shinsuke, you know, he comes out there and, you know, Sami Zayn says, you know, artist needs to communicate. You need somebody to communicate for him. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm more write about this more on BryanHWaters.com, because this is something I want to see. I think this is the pair that we needed, that we didn't know we needed. Where, you know, give Sami Zayn, I mean, this guy has been gold on the microphone ever since he pulled Kevin Owens off of the table and let Shane McMahon fall through it. He has been gold, folks. And, that's a rivalry people don't talk about how good it's been. We saw Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon on both sides of the coin. We saw them in a Hell in a Cell match when Shane was the heel. Babyface, and Kevin Owens the heel. Now we see Shane as the heel and Kevin Owens the babyface. To me, it's been working. I've been enjoying it. I know people maybe over, fed up with Shane McMahon. Not me. So, but Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, if this means I'm going to get more Shinsuke on my television, I'm happy. Shout out to Eazy-E, Eric Bischoff. And then, closing out tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, or do we just call him the Fiend? He came out Monday night. Jerry Lawler was in the ring, getting ready to introduce Sasha Banks. And then suddenly, the lights started flickering. And Jerry's been in this business for a long time. He knew exactly what time it was, and he tried to get out. Nope, the Fiend wasn't having it. He was right there at the ramp, the top of the ramp, waiting for him. And then hit him with the mandible claw, I guess. I don't know if he gave it a name. But this guy is scary. Man, I don't know about that whole thing he did with the children and leading to this. Woo! But I'm interested to see where this character goes, because he's been so good, and word on the street is that he has creative control. And Bray Wyatt, you forget that he was Husky Harris, but as the real Dwayne Allen and I did a show, which you can find on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm, which is subscribing right here. Go back into season 1. Character matters. Husky Harris didn't work, but Bray Wyatt did. Former WWE champion, former tag team champion, and now you have the Fiend. This can be a timeless character. It puts you in the mindset of a Mick Foley, of The Undertaker. Could he be The Undertaker's last opponent? Something to think about. He could be the one to put The Undertaker away for good. He's taking out these legends. He's taking out Hall of Famers. Kurt Angle. Jerry Lawler now. I believe he took out somebody else. Mick Foley. So, could The Undertaker be the last person? We know that The Undertaker will be at Smackdown when they go to Madison Square Garden. I believe that's the first time. I'm just saying. Time will tell. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I appreciate each and every one of you listening. Shout out to all my peoples from NABJ who have been tuning in for the first time. Make sure you are sharing the show. Share it with your friends, I know somebody like wrestling. Share it with them and, talk back with me. Talk to me at Brian H. Waters. Get on Facebook. Join the Wrestling Realm fan page. We talk to the fans. We love the fans. I enjoy talking wrestling. I will sit there and talk wrestling all day, all night with the right person. I enjoy a good conversation. I don't try to get weird, but make sure you are following us on social media. If you're on Apple Podcasts, do me a favor. Go in there, rate and subscribe to the show. Give me all the likes. Give me 5 stars, baby. Dave Meltzer gives out 5-star matches. Give me a 5-star rating. Screenshot it. Send it to me. I got you with the shout out. Until the next time, I'm Brian H. Waters. So long, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new content.